want to call the November 2nd Public Works Committee meeting to order. Roll call, Mr. Mayor.
Here.
Mr. Bott.
Here.
Mr. Talbert.
Yes, ma'am.
Here. Mr. Spurlock. Okay. Being there's no public participation, we only have one thing on our agenda, so I don't have agendas. As I said, it would be midnight Porter printed. Do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. First thing on the agenda is the roads in Ocean Breeze. I've been hollering and hollering to Harvey, and I think the rest of you have too.
They got work done yesterday.
I heard they did. They were down there.
Just the front part of it.
And they'll be back tomorrow.
They'll be back tomorrow.
Until we back run it up tomorrow after today.
Okay. So, Harvey, can you kind of enlighten us on where we're at as far as taking in the roads?
And I certainly can, but Mike, didn't you say you put a, is that what you came print?
Yeah, no, it's up there. I can just paraphrase this so we don't have to read it to you verbal,
Okay.
word for word. As you know, back in May, the council passed a resolution taking the roads from Mr. Tull. Harvey had been working on through the winter an application to submit to VDOT to have those roads incorporated into the urban maintenance grant. The deadline for that application is normally February 1st. Due to COVID last year, VDOT sent us a notice saying that they would extend the deadline. We didn't ask them, they just sent it to us. Harvey submitted a preliminary application on February 9th and then submitted the entire thing again in April, correct? And then they told us it was too late, but they never did give us a deadline. In any event, they denied our request supposedly because the application was late. We've talked to several people at VDOT since then, and the consensus seems to be, sounds like to me that the reason it was denied, it was convenient that it was not exactly on time. But in any event, they are struggling, and that's their term, to find the correct criteria under which the Ocean Breeze roads could meet the urban maintenance grant standards. And we were told from the beginning that it should not be a problem. We've been talking to a gentleman by the name of Michael Frazier. He's with the Hampton Roads District Transportation Planning Division, and he indicates that it would be easier to approve these roads if we applied for a single lane road rather than a two-lane road. And we've peppered him with questions surrounding that statement, and basically the only difference in the application, correct me if I'm wrong, Harvey, between a single lane road and a two-lane road is the amount of money they give us. If they take it into the system as a single lane road, we get how much money, Harvey, per lane mile?
Well,
It's a certain amount per lane mile. If it's a two-lane road, we get more money per lane mile, okay, obviously. However, it does not limit us to paving only one lane, which was the big question we had for him. Apparently, and we just got this answer, I think, yesterday, and it took 3 emails to get this answer, but we got the answer. If the roads down there were paved to an 18-foot width, then being approved for a single lane road, we could still restore those roads to their 18-foot width, even though we're only getting approved for a single lane road.
Which is 18 foot.
Not
Yeah.
necessarily, they're not defining how wide that lane is.
And if I may, Mike,
Yes.
the definition is as is originally constructed. So seaweed is 18, 19 foot in places, but when you get back on seed meth and some of those places, it's all I can do to get 12 foot out of it. So
Right.
we have to stay, as far as any money spent with urban maintenance, we have to stay within the original footprint, whatever that may be.
So we could, if they were accepted, and they stressed over and over that they haven't been accepted yet, if they were accepted, then we could go ahead and pave to the full width that they now are paved with tar and chip. The difference is they're only gonna give us money that the money or the unit price equivalent to a single lane road rather than a 2-lane road.
So we would have to fund the other half.
No, we could pay for it all with urban maintenance grants. It's just the amount of money they're gonna give us is lower. They don't care what we spend it on. If the road's approved, we can certainly spend it on that road, whether we pave it 10 foot or 18 foot. But it would be nicer if they counted them as 2-lane roads and they gave us all the money. But that doesn't keep us from spending what we need to spend on these roads to the width we wanna, up into and including the original width of the road paved with.
After all that, can you later apply for the 2-lane road?
That's the big question right now, and we don't have that answer.
And in my mind, you'd have to do that, you'd have to have a justification. The criteria those roads fall into is a 50-foot right-of-way, which we have throughout, and 30-foot of, they call it hard surface.
Which we don't have.
We don't have that. So I can't see reapplying because we're still only gonna have 18 feet,
What do you need 30 feet wide for?
because that's the criteria.
That's their
State standard.
Right.
that's their standard in order to accept them into the urban maintenance program. But there's some other criteria, and we've tried a couple of them. The school bus thing didn't work for us. There's also another one that says 40 feet and they have to be a cul-de-sac, which these roads were platted as cul-de-sacs, but they certainly weren't built as cul-de-sacs. In any event, we still have questions, they still haven't answered. Our latest question is one, just what you just asked, can we reapply later on? We expect that answer to be no. The other question is, of the criteria that you've given us here, they have a thing called an eligibility code, which tells them, this code tells the committee, this is why we think this road applies or is acceptable. We're asking them, what code would you like us to submit these under for the easiest approval rate? And they have not answered that question yet. But as soon as we get that question answered, we're going ahead and fill the daggone thing out and send it in this year. We intend to send that in within 30 days of this meeting if we can get the proper answers.
How long before you'll have an answer?
Next June.
Jesus.
Next June.
Yeah.
So in the meantime,
Yeah.
what are we doing? Are we gonna,
We're gonna keep grading.
We'll grade them and fill them best we can and try to keep them passable as best we can.
Good.
We knew that we couldn't pave them all immediately.
No,
We were
and I
hoping to
think we
get-
all
Yeah.
sitting here and the whole council realizes that we can't.
Right.
But the main drag that comes through there,
Right.
the main drag,
That's
that needs to be.
That's number one on the list. And it doesn't prevent us either if we want to later go in and, if we get them approved as single lane roads and we pave to the original pavement width, which is on Ridge Road, what you're talking about is 18 feet, give or take. If we go down some of the other roads and the time sees fit, it doesn't prevent us from supplementing the grant to go wider. We can certainly spend our own money and supplement we can use 12-foot width, here's what 12-foot wide of this is worth, but we want to do 18 so the town can pay for the extra 6 feet. Not ideal, but it certainly doesn't prevent us from doing that.
There's also the roads are the Commonwealth Transportation Board, right? Have we thought of reaching out to them if we can't get our answers?
We have not yet. I mean, we'll shake a big tree when we do that, but
Well, I think you need to make the priority of getting that one between Ridge and Main Street. That
the
needs to be
extension of
done.
Ridge Road.
I mean,
Yes.
regardless of what the state does, that needs to be
Right.
done for next
I
summer.
agree.
in my opinion.
I think we all do.
What would that, what's the cost differential between tar and chip and blacktop to do just from Ridge to Main?
I looked at several approaches there, Arthur.
Yeah,
Parts of that road are in decent shape.
yeah,
Parts of it have fallen all to pieces,
yeah.
obviously. And I don't have the numbers with me, I
I've got 'em.
apologize, but I think I sent them to you, Mike.
I've got them, I'll pull them up.
So one approach is we could, the stuff that's really in disrepair, we could either chip and tar, or blacktop. It's roughly 950 feet of the total overall length is 1,500 feet. And if I remember right, it cost $48,000 to do that, just to do.
The tar and chip the entire length here was $63,061. To asphalt the same length of road was $78,629.
But that is the entire length.
That's the entire
Yeah.
road. If we go back to just doing the parts that are in big disrepair, then tar and chipping was $39,130, and paving with 12D was $48,790.
Yeah, I think we need to figure that into our equation as we go forward, at least doing that regardless of what the state does. And you may get to a situation where you could tar and chip up the little lanes and just make sure that one road is paved, because that's a heavily traveled road. And once you pave it or do anything to it, it's gonna be even more heavily
Oh,
traveled.
yeah.
You know,
Well,
once you do anything.
And the
to it.
other approach, if you'd want to consider, we, out of our budget somewhere, could buy $10,000 worth of materials. And do a whole lot to carry us through the next summer. What's killing me right now, I can do the labor because that's being charged to the town. I really have no budget to buy materials, to fill potholes, to do anything other than grade.
And we've already used some of our millings, correct?
You know, we're moving it on.
Good. That was a big pile back
Yeah,
there.
hold on.
Well, right after we got ownership of those, we went back, what was it, Seahorse? The one way in the back there that you could lose a small car in, it was that bad, and Harvey's crew completely rebuilt the north end of that road so that it was passable.
And it's actually held up surprisingly well. So like I said, we could buy, $10,000 worth of milling, screenings, some material and do a whole lot of, it would carry us a long way to get into next summer.
How durable would that be compared to asphalt?
Oh, it's nowhere near durable, but it would, you know, we're looking for service until next July.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing thus far? You've just been scraping it? You're just scraping.
Yeah, we had a few millings.
I was gonna
back
say,
there.
we did add some material, didn't we?
Oh, yeah. But we've exhausted our supply of millings from our last paving projects. And while we're awaiting the determination of what we're gonna do with the ARPA funds, I don't have any paving scheduled right now.
And we had planned, if you remember from before, we had planned to do springtime paving this year because of ARPA rather than do it in the fall. Because it may coincide with a water project that we'll do with ARPA funds if it's approved.
So, what can we do?
It sounds like we can take it before council to spend, I don't know how we would do it,
Yeah,
budget recollect.
I'd get you a better price.
Yeah, to buy enough materials to be able to fix it, so we wouldn't have to be grading it every other week.
And under general government, Fund 10, there is actually a line item for private roads. It's $2,000 budget.
We'll say it's not $10,000.
No. But, you know, the solution may be just to amend that one line item in the budget. We wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel.
I'd like to see it get done, I mean, cause it's gonna cost us in the long run, cause every time they have to go down and grade it, you know, that's every couple of weeks. If we spend the money, it won't be down there as much.
If you keep grading it, you keep getting lesser and lesser.
Yeah,
Well, it's definitely gonna need some material. You can't just keep,
you can't keep grading it.
moving dust around and expecting it to
Hold up.
I think you need to look at your overages that you may have in the next couple of months. Money might be there in overages, or we're exceeding budget in several areas. And then look at getting a more permanent solution for the right of way, main thoroughfare, or whatever you wanna call it. Those side streets, you could work with them for a
Yeah,
while.
Yeah.
yeah, side streets are.
And I believe we all agreed that was the kind of the plan up front here. We would do them in priority.
Right.
Yeah. But I think we really, before next summer, going into next summer, we need to have a solution down there. My opinion.
And winter's coming, and it's gonna get worse.
Yep.
So,
What is our time frame though? You run a certain time here where we can't pave or do anything, right? When does that occur?
Probably the first of December.
They're talking, right now you're talking the week before Christmas, but that's weather dependent, of course. If it gets real cold before then, then you're forced to shut the plant down.
And then you're pretty much done till first of April, somewhere in that neighborhood, as soon as the weather can support having the plant open daily.
so do we need to go to the council and ask to do away with, or the line item he's talking about?
Well, are you talking about just biting the bullet, looking for overage and paving it?
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, that's what I was picking up on. Instead of piecemealing it, buying materials, you want to do it right and
The
pave it.
main thoroughfare.
Yeah, and I think if we pave it, that would tend to help VDOT's decision too, because it shows we've got skin in the game.
It would, but I'm sure it would have some positive effect, but they have not argued with us over the fact that these roads are hard surface. We thought that might be a problem, but that does not seem to be the problem. They agree that they are now or once were hard surface.
They were all black, tar and chip.
Tar chip, right?
Yeah,
And concrete.
yeah, but that came later, that came with the holes.
Yeah.
But it
Anything
was,
else you could buy.
yeah, and anything else you can buy.
Well, I'm with Chris. I think we need to look at a way to go ahead and get it done. I'd like to get it done while the plant's still operating.
So we need to take that to the council or just direct? Mr. Call?
Take it to the workshop meeting if you
Take
want.
it to the workshop meeting.
Okay. We can do
And give them some time to tweak on the budget a little bit.
Yep.
We'll come up with a plan between now and then to present to you at the workshop
that.
meeting.
That's just next week, you know.
You can
That's
do
plenty
it.
of time.
Yeah.
That's plenty.
It's like
Too much time.
Too much
And
time.
when you say pave, we're talking paving the entire 1,500 feet.
You will not get it past one of these folks up here to tar and chip anything. I'm just gonna,
No, it would
I
be,
think we've all heard that.
yeah. Well, you're talking about from the tar and chip, I think that's what, $15,000 difference?
Yeah, and tar and chip is nowhere near.
In the scheme of things, I think it would be poor economy to tar and chip it.
Yeah.
The thoroughfare.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Somewhere down the line on side streets, they're not gonna get the usage.
Right.
I mean, we had discussed, Harvey and I had discussed in the office, perhaps if we needed to widen the road base to make them qualify, that we would maybe tar and chip 5 feet on each side as a cheap way to add hard surface to make them qualify. We had always discussed doing that. That doesn't seem to be their issue, so. But that, again, that's what I would classify tar and chip as earning its keep to do, is just add to the hard surface, knowing we were gonna pave over it in a few years anyhow.
And when they blacktop that, will they go in first with a grader?
Oh,
And-
this price, correct me if I'm wrong, Harvey, this price includes fixing the potholes, backfilling them, cleaning them, backfilling them with crusher run, compacting them, and then, yeah, we're not gonna pave over a bunch of
Yeah,
holes, no.
right.
We're probably gonna have to take the concrete out.
Yeah. A lot of work to it before you just blacktop over.
Will you be doing that, or they
Yeah,
will?
they will be.
Oh,
What?
well, we'll work it out together. I
Oh.
mean, we'll do what we can.
Right,
Uh,
and then they'll finish up.
You know, the big thing they'll put in that price includes what they call a scratch coat. They'll go over it first with asphalt and fill the worst of the potholes and that kind of stuff. And then come back over it and do the road surface.
Like an overlay.
So it's a two-step process.
I envision we may have to go down and take a tractor and dig some of those that concrete out of the holes, you know, to give them, we're not gonna pave over that, and that's,
Yeah.
that'll reflect back through the top coat.
Yeah. Won't go on, push through.
Hmm.
Okay,
All right.
anything else? All right.
Not, I'm aware of.
You got anything else, any discussion?
Yeah,
I have one to go.
do you wanna make this the comments, I guess?
Go ahead.
These houses, and I don't know if this is Public Works or just generally, these houses that are getting in bad shape, I don't know if that's we need to look into them a little bit harder, I think. Cause it seems to be like there's getting more of them. Every time you turn around, there's another house with a roof that's caving in or,
I'll tell you, I think a big issue there is that everybody's fixing up so much, they're sticking out more, in my opinion.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Cause you got
For
like
sure.
4 of them in a row, and 3 of them been fixed up real nice, and you look, and there's the old
Yep.
eyeball there in the middle.
right.
Before you had, you know, a stretch of them, I noticed that even the couple that I've seen, they fixed them up on either side, but I agree with you.
I can tell you, Mark's got 2 or 3 in the works right now where he's sent letters on them.
Mhm.
I
What
think
do you have a certain time? If he
Yes.
sends a letter out and we
There's-
haven't heard from him,
It's 30 days.
It's timed, and then they get another 10 days to present a plan and that sort, but after that, it's done.
we tear it down, send them a bill.
If the owner refuses to, yes, we will get, solicit prices and demolish the house and send the owner a bill. If he doesn't pay it, it goes on his tax bill at the end of the year. Doesn't pay his taxes, it ends up our property, or we sell the property. So, yeah, there is a
Process.
procedure and a process which brings it to an end. It doesn't drag on. And that's been done, as you know.
Yeah, it's been done several times, but it's needed.
But Mark does have several in the works right now.
Cool. That's all for me.
The, last night, our Councilman Taylor down there mentioned a citizen corps of cleaners for the parks. I didn't know if we could handle that on our side, the town. I kind of believe that's something that Public Works needs to be doing versus recruiting a citizen corps of playground cleaners. I know you have people that do that, so I think we should be the one cleaning the parks. And they can, if it needs to indeed be done more than it's being done. I don't know what the schedule is or how that's arranged now.
Well,
But I don't like the idea of us trying to recruit citizens to clean up the parks type
Do
thing.
you know, excuse me, Chris, is there anything in particular he thinks is not getting done?
I'm not sure. I know he put the call out, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, me,
But I think that, we should be doing all that.
because I agree with you completely, and if there's something that needs correction, please let me know.
And I think too, on Chris's part, I think you might have a liability thing, because if it's town employee, the town employee's taking care of it, not a
Town
citizen.
park, right.
Yes, not a citizen.
Yes, the town employees will definitely take care of
That's
whatever
right.
it is, if I know what it is.
Right.
What did we do with our gentleman that went in some community services? Did we do that?
He's the assistant graveyard cleaner right now.
We do have some folks every once in a while that call and request to do some community service with us, in which Harvey puts them right to work, so
Good.
that was one of our thoughts for that. Apparently, he's cleaning graveyard right now, so.
Okay.
Like I said, I'd just like to know it's not getting done.
Apparently, I got another report of graffiti down at the new park today. And, citizens were cleaning it off with a magic eraser, but, apparently that's like the hot spot for permanent markers these days.
That's where we need to get some cameras too. I guess that goes in line with, I was gonna mention that, the next Parks and Rec, you build your bathroom, leave a pre-wire, those things are
Mhm.
cheap now. I use them at the pharmacy, and they're not expensive.
I discussed it with Robbie today, and we'd like to get a decent system that we can support and access via the internet, whatever we decide to do with storage and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what we
Access it from a terminal via the internet, it would be very handy. We could set it up in the police office, we could set it up in the town office.
Yeah, but would that go through, that wouldn't go through the Parks and Rec, that would go through public safety?
Public safety.
Should.
Go through public safety.
Yeah.
That's an
I
excellent
mean,
public safety.
and I would think that would, we could probably use ARPA funds for that.
Well, you also have a budget for public safety now,
Yeah,
or they
that's true.
control a budget.
And that's an excellent idea for public safety, because you need a camera down there, especially at a kid's park, if there is some
Well, with all
We
the
won't have
parks would be
squirrel
All the
action.
parks.
All the
Yeah.
parks would be nice.
Mhm.
Now,
The way we had Memorial Park set up, it was actually monitored right here from dispatch.
that's where it needs to be, because
That's where
then
it
a
needs
police
to be.
officer can see what's going on. And they can dispatch somebody down there.
Yeah, that's an excellent idea. That's a great public safety measure. Because I am surprised, I've been down there, I've tried to make a point to go down there about 4 or 5 times. There are people that park every time I've been down there.
Smith Street.
Smith Street.
It's becoming more popular as people discover it.
Yeah.
And it's in the middle of town. It's warmer or cooler, not out there on the water. It's just like a central location.
It's new.
And it's new, yeah.
Oh, the equipment's new.
But if you think about it with kids, it's like they're not walking down Ridge Road to go to the park, like I've seen them do. They'll go walk down Ridge Road to go down to Memorial Park or through Sagwood.
Yep. The
This
sidewalks
way, they're on sidewalks, they're safer. Just a thought.
It's nice.
And, Madam Chairman, I have one thing just to update you on, while I was sitting here, real quickly. I think most of you know there's been some question of mail delivery to Ocean Breeze. We are working on that with contact members of the U.S. Postal Service, and as of today, Representative Elaine Lauria's office is working on it for us as well. So we're hoping to get this resolved in a few weeks. Postal Service is committed to putting these community boxes down there. You've seen them in big developments, and everybody has a key to their box, which is a solution. The residents would rather have individual delivery to their house, to an RFD box in front of their house, which I agree with them. Everybody else on the island has that. But we'll have one or the other within a few weeks, I think.
Yeah. I know if you had every project required this much work, we'd never get anything done. And there's one of those boxes on Chicken City Road, one of those multi
There are a few
boxes.
around.
Yeah.
Does where Billy used to live, Silver Sales, do they have those?
Yeah,
They have those.
They used to have one down there at BB, right?
Yeah, they did, but I think it
Yeah,
went
that was,
south.
Ocean
That-
Breeze
That
was-
was individual mailbox.
Ocean Breeze was approved for these before, and they had one apparently for a little while until the tide took it.
Yeah.
Harvey knows.
My understanding is all these new developments in the city, or the suburbs, I should say, are getting these now. They're telling developers they will not do house-to-house delivery. They make they put one at the end of the cul-de-sac, and that's where everybody goes.
Mine's on the road. I collect it every time I go home.
Harvey, you have anything?
Do that? Thank you.
Anybody else have anything?
Make a motion for adjournment.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.